in your menu, there is a tools area. And when we hit tools, there's a camera and streaming. And so when you pull that up, it populates a camera in the world and gives you this blue window that you have that says camera control. So in here, there's lots of different options. And we won't go over all of them, but some of the more relevant pieces are along the right-hand side. The very first icon is like a little gear icon. You see in that one?
Right, the settings.
Yep. So that one, the most relevant in there, I think, is the rendering the private UI. And what that does is, you know, by default in Neos, there's a private user interface that nobody else can see but you. And it's not shared at all. And so the only way to get that and to record that is to turn that setting on. So when you put the render private UI on, you can see my UI. And so when I'm recording here in this video, they're going to be able to see this blue window. But if I turn that off, it disappears and I can't see it on the camera anymore. So I'm going to turn that on for purposes of recording this video, but typically I keep that off. We're not usually talking about the private UI, we're kind of talking about what's in the world and stuff like that. Really big feature that this has is integration with OBS. And OBS is an open source project that allows you to record many things on your screen. It's basically a screen recorder that's very popular, especially with gamers and such, streamers, all those. So you have to have this installed already. So if you don't have it installed, you won't be able to launch it and connect to it. And it has its own sort of set of best practices of setting it up and how to set that up. It's a whole thing to learn about that as well. That's going to be outside the scope of this tutorial. So hopefully you know how to use OBS already. If you don't, we'll get some links to how to use OBS. But this video will have to be for people who know OBS, I think. We have this OBS installed I have it installed on my computer. I can set it up to do streaming with Twitch, and that's a setting within OBS. And within here, I can stop and start the recording. Of course, this is recording right now, so I'm not going to hit the stop button. The other big thing to remember is that OBS can only see what Neos is seeing, and typically it's from my point of view. And so you'll see when you open this window up, right now I have mirror to display as green because I've already pressed it. But when you haven't, it'll be like blinking red because it's telling you, listen, if you start recording right now, it's not what the camera is seeing, it's what you are seeing. And so that's a pretty big distinction, something to remember. And there's also a checkbox under the start recording button on the right hand side that says auto mirror on record stream. So that if that's checked, it will automatically basically take this camera that's in the world, mirror it to your display, and then OBS records that. So that's kind of the overview of just OBS in general, but that's how you start recording the actual video in here. And OBS really, it's not very hard to learn or anything. It's a little bit of reading, a little bit of research, and once you have it set up, you're pretty much just ready to go. And I barely have to touch it. And yeah.